This is Catholic Forum. I'm Bob Krebs, and today we're on location in Millville, Delaware, where we have a couple of special guests, Andy Maggio and Chick Anderson. And these gentlemen are parishioners at St. Anne's Parish in Bethany Beach, and they both, Andy and Chick and their friends and volunteers, have distributed thousands upon thousands of rosaries and scapulars to people from all across the country and beyond. And the name of their ministry is Rosaries and Scapular Initiative, right. So, Andy, you were the fellow that started this, correct?
That's correct. It was amazing. We started out at the church, giving a few scapulars and rosaries to the congregation. And before you know it just got so big. And my brother-in-law was dying in Baltimore in a VA hospital, and it was his last days. And I called up there to the chaplain of the VA, Father Austin, and I said, "Father, would you put a scapular around his neck and tell him we love him and we're praying for him?" And he had no movement at this point. He went over and mentioned what we had said. He said he had eye movement for the first time. He said he heard everything that we said, and it was fantastic. He said, "But Andy, I don't have any scapulars or nor rosaries," and we've had a lot of people, Catholics and non-Catholics, requesting them. I said, "Father, I'll make sure you get them immediately." And then once he received them, he said, "They're so beautiful, with the prayers and some of the miracles of the scapular, that I have a counterpart up in Boston. He's a chaplain with the VA hospitals." So I called him, and he said, "Andy, would you send me some rosaries and scapulars?" And that's how it all began. And from then, we hit all 150 VA hospitals nationwide.
Wow.
And
So tell us a little bit about yourself. You grew up in Baltimore, correct?
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about your background.
well, I went to Catholic school for the first grade. And from then on, I went to public schools, and I'm just figuring, why me? I know very little about the church. I love the church. I love every part of it. But why me? And it's just grown so huge. But it was just amazing how I used to be an usher at St. Jude's Hospital in Baltimore. My mother had gone there for years, and their novenas every Wednesday at 12 o'clock. And when she died, I took it up for her, and I became an usher, and everybody was so fantastic. And then when I moved down here, I just picked it up and continued with it. So eventually, but the volunteers we have been fantastic. We have the greatest church in the world, St. Anne's and Bethany Beach. They're all great. Father Clemens and Father Joji, as I call him, because they call him like that in India. So he laughs every time I call him that. And all the volunteers, Deacon Dennis and Sally. But it's been quite an experience.
How about you, Chick? Where are you from originally?
I lived in Maryland. We moved here about 6 years ago. And I started going to St. Anne's daily Mass. And I would sit in the front of the church, second pew, and right in front of me is sitting this gentleman here, Andy Maggio. And everyone would come up and say hi to him. He was such a friendly guy, and we became friends. And then one day I see all these bags on the pew sitting next to him. And I said, "Andy, what are all these bags?" So he told me all about his ministry. And I said, "That's wonderful. I want to be a part of that." So I became a volunteer. I'm one of the 20 or so people that come in and separate all the different, the rosaries and the scapulas and the how to pray the rosary and the Divine Mercy prayer. And we put them all into bags and then you distribute them out to universities, colleges, the Air Force Academy, West Point, Naval Academy, hospitals all around the country. That we've distributed over 560,000 so far. And there's about 20 or so volunteers here, but there's 17,000 people around the country that are putting together the rosaries. This is a big, big mission. And Andy's the founder. He started the whole thing. He needs all the credit. He gets all the credit for doing it. But not just that. He's inspired other people to be part of it as well.
You said 17,000 people around the country are putting together these rosaries?
Yes, what happened, I got in contact with the Our Lady Rosary Makers in Kentucky, and they have 20,000. They increased from 17 over 20,000 that the nuns and people from around the country make the rosary. They sell them the rosary beads, and they put my name in their magazine or article every month, and they put my address and that I was working with school children and working with the VA hospitals around the country. So they put my name in, and I've been getting rosaries from around the country, California, Texas, Florida, and as soon as I receive them, I send them a personal note, thank you. And they've been calling us, and it's just been a wonderful, wonderful experience. Mm-hmm. And the main thing that happened, that I got thank yous from the school children from St. Mary's over in Maryland, and the principal had them write me a thank you, and it was from the 4th grade to kindergarten, and they were drawing. You could see, thank you, Mr. Maggio, for what you're doing, and you could see the printing going down as they were getting into the kindergarten. They had circles that they were supposed to color. The lines were going through the circles, but it was the best experience with all the money I've put out and all the time and effort. I'm putting in like 26 hours a day, and it's gotten so big. And of course, we went to Medjugorje, and an experience.
Yeah, tell us about that experience. When did you go to Medjugorje?
It was a couple years ago with a group from the church, and my son went with me. He's Mike. He's just a great kid. All of my 6 kids are great, and 10 grandkids, and 7 great grandkids. So I want to give them all credit. Sure. So anyway, he went with me just because I had a back operation a few months ago, and they put a plate in my back, and my balance wasn't that great. So he went with me, and I could only go to the first tier where the Blessed Mother appeared. I couldn't go to the top of the mountain. But he had an experience because he has 2 beautiful children, Italian and Filipino. Okay, beautiful kids. And the oldest one, Nick, his wife just had a baby. And Grayson, beautiful, beautiful, smile, and you can't believe. So anyway, he had in vitro, and at the time, the church wasn't too happy with that. So he was torn a little backward, and he went on this trip to go to the top of the mountain, and there's 2 ways of going up there. One is huge boulders, and the other ones were stones that people normally took, but it was a difficult trip. But he went up the boulder, and he was followed by a man or person, and he got halfway up to the mountain. He turned around, and the man was gone. He couldn't believe. Where did he go? Because it was halfway up the mountain. He got to the top, and he was a changed person. You know, he used to knock horns with me, but now, unbelievable. Dad, what can I do for you? It's been a wonderful reaction, and what he did, every person that was there on the trip, he got a rosary with their name on it, and he presented. And now all the gals that say the rosary every day, they think of Mike. And it's just been unbelievable. And the venture from there to now has been unreal. Some of the miracles that have happened was once in Baltimore. I was going to the Baltimore airport, and I was driving a little car with a convertible top, and I was behind a dump truck that was hauling a cement mixer. And I said, you know, God, I go to church, I try to be nice, I try to do everything right. Can you show me a sign? I no sooner got the words out of my mouth when I heard a voice say, get in the other lane, get in the other lane. I moved from the left lane to the right lane, and as soon as I did, that cement mixer snapped off the truck, flew up in the air, landed right where my car would have been. Sparks are flying, and I'm seeing this all in my rearview mirror. Wow. I said, God, I'll never ask you for another sign. Mm-hmm. And I know there is a God. And the people that don't believe, they should. Really, it's unbelievable.
Growing up, and had you been a regular rosary prayer, or you have a devotion to the rosary or the scapular?
No, I had not. As I said, I only went to the 1st grade and just picked up when my mother died. God bless her soul. She was the greatest, and I just automatically just picked it up and went to the meetings every Wednesday, at St. Jude's Children, at St. Jude's Hospital. Or not hospital, church.
Shrine. It's a shrine, right?
Shrine in Baltimore.
Right. How about you, Chick? You said you're from Maryland as well. Have you always been devoted to the scapular or the rosary?
No, I was an Episcopalian, and married my wife 42 years ago, and she was a cradle Catholic. She's the most Catholic person I've ever known, one of the finest women that ever lived. And I wanted to be with her. So we got married in a Catholic church, and we raised all our kids Catholic. And I'm a Eucharistic minister and a lector. And I went to a men's retreat 10 or 12 years ago, and I came back realizing that I was just a spectator. I wanted to be a participant. I wanted to be in the room where it happens, and so I got more and more involved in the church. And so now I really don't want to ever miss daily mass, because things happen and you hear things, and there's people there that you want to be with. So I didn't know much about the scapular either. I know my father-in-law used to wear one all the time, but a lot of Catholics don't know the importance of the scapular. And you read about it, say, wow, there are miracles that happen with people that wear that. If you wear it, you will not have to endure the fires of hell for eternity. And the Rosary, of course, we say that all the time, and I think that's important. But when we send this package out, the package has how to pray the Rosary. A lot of people might have a Rosary, but they don't really remember how to do it. It's important to have the instructions on how to do it. And you get the scapular, they might look at it and say, well, what's that all about? And you read about it, which is in the packet. And you say, wow, I did not know that. A lot of Catholics still do not know the importance of the scapular. So I think that's part of the thing, is we're bringing new people into the church, or revitalizing people that have left the church or have, strayed away from the church. So it's twofold.
This is what the scapular looks like.
Yep. That's the brown scapular, and
To
yeah.
avoid eternal fire. It's the Blessed Mother. And the Rosary and the scapular should be together. And that's what she suggests, and that we're trying to do. A lot of people are not familiar with the scapular. I remember going to the American Legion here in Ocean City, and I was talking to the commander. He said, I hadn't seen one of those since I was in the first grade, and I'm 70-some years old. So he said, I'm going to give this to my wife. And I said, here, I'll give you one for yourself. And it's been wonderful.
I gotta admit, I'm not proud of it, but I got out of the habit of wearing my scapular, and I went to put it on this morning, and I couldn't find it. So
We have one for you.
We have thousands for you. You take as many as you want.
You'll never forget it again.
Yeah.
So, Andy, you get the rosaries come from people who around the country who assemble the rosaries and send them to you.
Yes, but I also buy them every week. I buy 2 boxes of full rosaries, like 400 in a box, with scapulars. I used to be able to get the scapulars, but I'm having trouble now getting them. I used to be able to get 10,000 from the nuns in New York State and Canada. I can only get 250 now. So I have a lot of them coming in from China, and you can't give made in China to the military. So I have a situation where I have another contact, Sister Mary Teresa in Ohio, and Mark, the brother there. He called me. I've been praying for more brown scapulars, and he called me. He says, Andy, I just got 3,500 scapulars. Are you interested? I said, send them. So I'm waiting for him to come in any day now.
Now, you say you send them to schools, to VA hospitals, military bases, and so forth. Have you had any interesting or unusual requests?
Well, I just got a call from Canada where she had, her name was Paula, and she called me. She says, I saw your interview with WBOC, and I'm fascinated, and I want to do work with you. And what can I do to get 10,000 rosaries? And she said, I'm part of the Canadian Catholic group, and my section needs 10,000. Can you send them to me? And I said, sure, surely will. And the same way with our St. Mary's in Emmitsburg. they contacted me and said, we're having a retreat and I need 1,400. And I got another call from him and he said, hey, can you send me an extra 100 just for the stragglers that come in? I said, I'll send you the 1,500. So that's up in Emmitsburg, Maryland.
Mount St. Mary's is probably a youth
become
conference.
priests.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right. Yeah, right. The Mount St. Mary's is a seminary, university.
Seminary.
Yeah.
So there's 1,400. It'd be great if they all become priests.
That would be great.
Wouldn't that wow?
So you say you're pretty much based. You have a lot of volunteers. How many volunteers do you have?
Well, we had a party a couple of years ago, and we had 40 people show. So we're, the priest and others, and Father Clemens is on my board. So we're pretty much a lot of folks are helping us out. We need more.
So who would get the box? There's a box that you give for First Communions.
Oh, yes. We have Joe Aquila, a member of the Knights of Columbus. And he was talking to me. He said, it'd be nice if we could do something for First Holy Communion children and adults that want to become Catholic. And he came up with the idea about this box. It has my rosary and scapular that has the rosary, how to say the rosary, some of the miracles of the scapular, and the little box. And the Knights of Columbus, they're taking on the program for us here in Maryland and Ocean City, Maryland, and in Delaware. So we're trying to get the Knights of Columbus in Connecticut to endorse this because we feel it's so beautiful that the children can have this forever in their bedroom, and you're taking the rosary, it smells like roses, and they love it. And we just like this. I would like to see every church in a country have these boxes, and they're expensive, but it's well worth it. And the Knights have been picking it up at cost locally, but it would be nice with the Knights with 2 million people, members. It would be, if we could get some donations and help, that would be fabulous.
Yeah, that's going to be my next question. Where does all the money come from to send out these rosaries, to purchase them, to and so forth?
You're looking at them.
Yeah.
And that's why I need help. Yeah. And I just, $10, $5, it can be as small as that or large. We're looking for foundations and charities to help us out, to spread the word for the Blessed Mother. It really.
What is it about, this question is for you, Chick, what is it about this ministry that keeps you so active in coming back?
Well, I just love the Catholic Church. I want to inspire people to continue with it, and if there's a way to come back to it. I just love the Catholic Church, and I want to spread their word around. And this is one of the most beautiful ministries I've ever been involved with. It's touching so many people. Imagine all the people that are getting these. Over 500,000 people have gotten that. And just if a small percentage of them come to the Catholic Church or come back to the Catholic Church. I mean, we're sending it to the hospitals and everything. I contacted the prison. I thought that'd be a great place to go. I contacted the chaplain at the prison. They said, well, I'd like to see what it looks like. We can't be handing stuff to the prisoners, Yeah. So we sent them some sample packages to make sure it's going to be okay. But I think, and I contacted a homeless shelter and see if we could hand some to those people. I want to touch as many people as possible with this. This is just a wonderful, wonderful way. And Andy's a little modest about this. I mean, he's been funding this himself since the very beginning. And he doesn't ask for a lot from people, and so we could use as much donations as possible. I think there's a website you can go to, and there's a QR code you can go to if you want to make a donation. But volunteers is nice, but the donations is real nice.
Yeah, I mean, you are a registered 501c3, and so it's good for people to, but to take it to the next level, you can't all be you footing the bill.
And I'm working 26 hours a day, and we also have hospice in Delaware and hospice in Maryland, Gilchrist in Maryland, and they've just been wonderful. And we just picked up the the towers. They want us to work with them. I just sent up 200 to New York to their main office, and they just put out they bought these hotels, and they're making them that they're taking off 10,000 homeless veterans off the street into their hospitals. So it looks like it's going to be, they're going to get rosaries and scapulars. So
For sure. So you have a website.
yes.
Do you know what it is off the top of your head?
all this rosaries with an S, ROSARIES and AND scapulars SCAPULARS .org. That is beautiful, and I think people would really like it if they go to it.
Yeah, you'll have places there where you can make a secure
Yes.
online donation. You can follow some of the media reports
Yes.
from the organization. One thing that's always impressed me, I mean, I've been with the diocese for 25 years, and there's always been a huge amount of people going to daily mass at St. Anne's. I mean, that's like the top. I think at one point, I don't know if it's still the case, but it was 300 or 400 people coming to daily mass.
We were at mass today, and it was crowded.
It's like a Sunday.
It's-
In normal
yeah.
churches, it's like a
Yeah.
Sunday on
Oh, yeah.
on a weekday here.
And everybody knows everybody.
Everyone knows it.
Everybody's in their own
Get
seat.
your own, we get our own
Don't-
cues.
If somebody else sits there, they look at you. Yeah,
Nobody sits in Andy's slot if he happens not to be there.
they give them dirty looks.
Well, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure talking to you, and we hope that God continues to richly bless you in this wonderful ministry. Thanks for spending time with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you. I enjoyed it. Thank you.